Your Dallas Cowboys had a chance to watch the All-22. Had a hard time. You don't need the former scout telling you couldn't run the ball, but you couldn't run the ball.
The hell?
Yeah, that was trouble. We talked about it in the build-up to the game, pregame show. We talked about it, the things you kind of worried about. You had a hard time blocking their two inside guys, Payne and Allen.
Monsters.
Well, they're two of the best.
Yeah, and I'm not just talking about Connor McGovern. I'm talking about Zach Martin had some problems there too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Peters, Broaddus, all those dudes.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle. Broaddus, you mentioned McGovern. Tyler Smith wasn't at his absolute best. There were a couple times where they made plays when they ran behind you, like you were in good position to make a block, and the ball there was just that little bit of hesitation because when things get a little muddy, then the back with that little bit of hesitation. You could get those guys to kind of, because there were a couple of times where Terrence Steele was in position and then, a guy like Sweat runs behind him and then he's able to make the play. So, it's just because you just didn't have very many clean looks running the ball. But that's going to happen when you play against guys like that. I mean, that's the tough thing about playing football in this league. You're going to come up against some guys inside that are just hard to block. And the Cowboys struggled with that a little bit. But what they were able to do, though, is they got a little creative for you this week. And they got a little creative when it came to throwing the ball, with the situation with the touchdown that went to Michael Gallup. And I really, really liked the design. And everybody's like, well, how do you function in the red zone? How do you make plays in the red zone? Field shrinks and all that. A lot of it is by design, but a lot of it is by how you get your players on their bad players. And I don't mean bad. I mean the players that can't cover.
Yeah, you just find the mismatch.
You find the mismatches. And how many days have we been so critical? I know I have. I don't mean to throw you guys in this.
Well, Chief had the great numbers of what they're doing in Minnesota now with getting Jefferson on linebackers, just like
the
Cooper Kupp gets on linebackers.
Kupp, the same way. Well, same thing happened in this football game because you were able to get Michael Gallup on their linebacker Cole Holcomb, the linebacker, and you did it by alignment is what you did, which was really, really cool to do because you're thinking like, okay, if they're going to play coverage and you're going to try and spread the defense out, and they're willing to walk a linebacker over in the slot to carry coverage, you got to take advantage of that. Great route, by the way, by Gallup to get open. I mean, he goes up and he's going to lean on Holcomb to the inside, and and that's to his left. And Holcomb is there. Holcomb is like, if he breaks inside, Holcomb's going to make this play. I mean, he's going to be in coverage. But then you see Gallup just like quickly kind of lean on him and then burst. And when he bursts the outside, Holcomb's got no shot. Great job by Cooper Rush extending the play and kind of figuring out like, okay, where's my guys going to be? But by design, you put a receiver on a linebacker in the red zone. And those are matchups that you're going to win right there. So great job by Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, offensive staff, figuring out how to do that as well.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I love to hear that. That's very, very exciting.
Well, and Cooper Rush was talking about it after the game. Michael Gallup, that's just MG, and that he's made a living on doing that, literally. I mean, working the baseline and coming back towards the quarterback, and he could see him working his way across the field the entire way. So Cooper Rush knew all I've got to do, keep extending, and then eventually Michael Gallup's going to get into the window, and then boom, there's the opening.
Yeah, just a really pretty design right there, though.
Getting Gallup back helps.
Yeah, and it helps because what happens to the vertical passing game, and we were talking about, okay, who is going to be the guy that if they throw the ball vertically, everybody's like, well, Turpin can run, and you're thinking, but Turpin doesn't have the catch radius to be able to go make plays down the field. The great example of what Michael Gallup can do is, on 50-50 balls, he could go get it. He can contort and go get it. He could also, the way he goes up, and if you get tangled with him, he draws pass interference plays.
Yeah.
That's something that, I mean, when you look at him and the way he plays, you're like thinking, well, hell, there's no way. I mean, there was a couple of times there when that ball went to him, he's in good position, but then the defender's just all over him. And it's just an easy call to make.
It seems like Moore is being patient and waiting for the opportunity to strike. That's what I felt like watching the game.
Well, that's, the fact that the Commanders had so many penalties helped you in the game. But the fact that they were willing, also the Cowboys were willing to take shots down the field. Matter of fact, the first ball that Cooper Rush threw down the field to Noah Brown should have been a catch. Noah didn't track it that well. It's like it was coming into his right side, and it was like you could kind of tell that his head wasn't in position, and then because he could have turned back to his left to go get the ball to where it's thrown, but he kind of lost track of where it was over on that side, on the right side, and it didn't allow him to get around quick enough on it. So, good job. But I mean, it was a good throw. It just he can adjust to that a little bit better, and I think it'd been fine. The route that they scored on with CeeDee Lamb was a really good design too. And this was one of those where all of a sudden when you have guys, and this is the threat when you have a guy like a Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz didn't play great yesterday, right? Dalton Schultz had no catches. Dalton Schultz had a holding penalty.
But not his quarterback.
But Dalton Schultz was able to help you get a touchdown with CeeDee Lamb. And by the way that he ran the route, in order to, with him staying vertically up the field, it put the safety curl in a position where he couldn't get over to take Lamb as Lamb went. Lamb made a nod to the outside and then went straight vertical on the play. But by what Schultz was able to do by hold curl in place, the safety, it created the space necessary for the ball to be there. So
I like that. Good roll for Schultz.
Felt like Cooper Rush did a nice job with his eyes on that play as well, where he knew the whole time he's going to strike it over to CD, but he waited and then boom, ripped it over there.
But that route from CeeDee Lamb, I mean, that was route running
outside nod
there.
and then
boom.
Vertical there.
That was clean.
Okay, let me tell you something real quick here before I run out of time. Cowboys are going to, and Micah Parsons is going to have to deal with this from now on as we're starting to see it on tape. When teams run the ball at him or he gets in pass situations, he is going to face cut blocks. Teams are going to try and go at his knees is what they're going to do.
When he's on the edge?
When he's on the edge.
Okay.
Yeah. When they were running screens to his side, they were trying to cut him because he's going to go up the field. The one thing that makes you do is have to defend yourself, hands down, to play the defender. Anything to make him slow down his pass rush are what teams are going to do. I guarantee you when we get to these games coming now down, as we get through the season, you're going to start to hear Micah Parsons being asked about having to play cut blocks because the Commanders, that was their game plan. They were not going to let him get up the field. They were not going to let him rush the passer, and they were going to make him have to defend his knees. And when you're defending your knees, you're not rushing the passer. That's something that Micah Parsons is going to have to deal with the rest of the year, I believe.